This is the AUDL on ESPN, and we welcome you to the Bay Area of California for a new beginning. The San Jose Spiders hosting the San Francisco Flamethrowers, two brand new teams, both ready to get after it as the AUDL season begins. Hi everybody, I'm Evan Leppeler alongside Chuck Kindred. He's been to Nationals a half dozen times. It's so great to have you with us. Chuck, a new season and a new era. Last August, the Toronto Rush. The champions, they were undefeated. It's going to be a much tougher 2014 if they're going to repeat.
I think so. There's a lot of new talent in the league this year. DC's looking very sharp, and we've got two teams here in the Bay Area that are debuting that are stacked and loaded with talent. It's going to be a very exciting year.
Well, you played for Revolver for quite a while, the current defending national champion in the club scene, but this is a different brand of Ultimate, a bigger field, some different rules, but some of the great players that make the club game so special. Guys like Bo Kittredge and Kurt Gibson for San Jose, and Alex Nord and Cassidy Rasmussen for San Francisco.
It's true. There's a lot of talent in the Bay Area in the co-ed division and the men's division, and it's kind of spread around on both of these rosters pretty evenly. I think a lot of the Revolver offensive players tend to be on the San Jose side. A lot of the really great defenders on Revolver seem to be on the San Francisco Flamethrowers side. So it should be interesting to see these two lines do battle, as they've done many times in practice.
There's such familiarity between these two teams. What's it like to compete at the highest level against a guy that you genuinely respect?
It's difficult. And these guys are elite athletes, so it's very hard. There's not a lot of room for error, and you've really got to push. A lot of these guys really make each other better in practice and in tournaments, and it'll be interesting to see when everything's on the line, when the TVs are on, to see who comes to play today.
Well, we are getting ready for the first pull, the opening weekend of the new season of AUDL action. San Jose hosting the San Francisco Flamethrowers. We are at Foothill College in Los Altos Hills, California. A beautiful day for some Ultimate. Very little wind, nothing but blue sky, and great conditions to lay out.
Yeah, we had a lot of games last year in the Windy City and in other locations that were not very easy to play in. This is pristine weather, just beautiful. Sunny, 70 degrees, no wind. You're going to see some really efficient offense and some big plays in the air.
Well, the biggest news of the offseason, perhaps, was when Bo Kittredge decided to sign with the AUDL. He liked the vision of this league, and he's getting introduced to his home fans as we speak. Your perspective on what Bo means to this league, and what, if anything, can San Francisco do to try to slow him down?
Well, you know, Bo's the man. He's been the man for the last 4 or 5 years in club, and he is well respected. He's maybe the best athlete in the league, and his first 3 steps when he goes deep are the fastest I've ever seen in the sport. And here he is running onto the field.
The eccentric enigma who grew up in Anchorage, Alaska. Always in his customary number 50, but no longer wearing the badge of Johnny Bravo or Mama Bird or even Revolver. He is now a part of the Spiders. The owner of this team and general manager Andrew Zill helped make him realize that this was the right choice for his next step in the great sport of Ultimate. If this is your first time ever seeing the AUDL, thanks so much for giving us a chance. It'll be 4 12-minute quarters. We'll explain some more of the rules and different rules compared to the club scene as we progress, but it begins with the Flamethrowers in the white. Talent from the San Francisco club scene, both in the open and mixed sides. And the Flamethrowers will pull. The first ever pull for San Francisco will be launched by Sam Canner. He's one of the captains.
Sam Canner, a staple on the Revolver D-line. His specialty is locking it down on handlers. He is an absolute nightmare to have on you if you're handling the disc.
One of the unique dynamics of this game, Chuck, is the fact that there are so many teammates on Revolver playing against each other. And from talking to Cassidy Rasmussen this past week, he said, there's a lot of trash talking at practice that people don't get to see. It might show up here today. Ashlyn Joy picks up the first disc and hits Bo. Quickly lays it off to Sonny Zaccaro. Kurt Gibson now with the disc. He made the first cut. This is Ashlyn Joy, part of Team USA. that won the World Championship in Colombia last year. Bo Kittredge also on that team. Looking for the break, a great layout, but it finds its target anyway. The Spiders on the board.
Ashlyn Joy there breaking the mark. One of the smoothest players you'll ever see. Is a really intuitive athlete, and he's one of these new breeds of ultimate Frisbee players. This guy grew up on the sidelines of tournaments. His dad was an elite club player here in the Bay Area, and he is taking over the sport.
For San Jose, Ashlyn Joy to Bo
Kittredge able to haul it in. A ridiculous layout from Zane Rankin. He just came up a little short.
Watch him set it up with the around fake here and then step in and just thread the needle to Bo.
And that layout should tell you all you need to know about the kind of effort and passion these guys are expending in this AUDL 2014 season. The maximum amount of time between pulls is 50 seconds. This game will move. The clock does stop on scores. Eli Jannon manning that center handler position for the Flamethrowers. The consensus seems to be, in analyzing both these two teams, San Jose might be better at the top with Bo and Ashlyn and Kurt. But if you're naming the top 14 guys, the Flamethrowers might get the nod. Which is more important?
I think depth is more important. Here we see a nice shot deep to Nick Slovin just out of the end zone. That was Nord throwing, I believe, a right-handed throw. As far as I know, he's not right-handed.
And Patrick Bayless takes the little flip to tie it at 1.
Our fans for coming out in full force tonight.
Well, Alex Nord was a great get for the Flamethrowers, a guy who may not be the game-changing stud that he once was, the 2001 Callahan Award winner, probably one of the greatest players in the sport for a half-decade stretch. Slovin just outside the end zone.
Yeah, you could say that Nord was at the same level as Bo is now. There was a time when Nord was absolutely sought after by club teams and admired by everybody coming up.
Played in the mixed division this past year, a 3-time national champion with Seattle Sockeye. Middle of the 2000s decade. One of the big differences for these players who have not played Pro Ultimate before is the difference in field dimensions. The field is longer, the field is wider. In chatting with Bo Kittredge this past week, he said, sometimes I'll get more tired running on a pro field. Usually in club, I never get tired. This time, Kittredge being chased by Zach Travis, one of his Revolver teammates. Marcelo Sanchez, another member of that Revolver O-line, and this is Gibson. What a storied career he has had, a national champion with double wide 2 years ago. And the first D belongs to San Francisco's Jake Coleman.
Nice heads-up play there by Jake. He was reading Ashlyn's eyes as he set that backhand up and poaches the lane.
Gibson, the hand block. Patrick Bayless was saying he was fouled. Joy, 7 yards out. And a stall. 7-second stall count. Another adjustment for these mostly club veterans.
It's true, and it's a silent stall count. Normally you have a guy in your ear telling you 1, 2, 3, but not in AUDL. You have no heads up. You have to move the disc, and a huck immediately goes up. Sam Canner gets open deep.
Gibson D's it up in the end zone. You could see that coming.
You absolutely could. Gibson is one of the most dominant players in the air we've ever seen. He almost single-handedly, with Tim Garrett throwing deep to him, won a title at Florida.
And Cassidy Rasmussen, great player in his own right, but that's not his game, going one-on-one for a sky with Gibson. Now looking for Kittredge. A little too far.
Kittredge could not close on that. He looked a little ginger, and I saw the trainer working on his right leg before the game started. You can see, I think he's wearing a sleeve. He may be having a hamstring or a groin issue. It's hard to say. We'll have to find out what we can.
So with a wider field, we're going to see some different offensive sets. A lot more space for cutters as they hit canter. Dan Gillick unable to shake Marcelo Sanchez downfield. Great layout bid, but it still arrives to Jason Yun.
Big bid there by Tyler Bacon. One of the captains of Condors, I believe.
A lot of San Francisco Bay Area talent on both these teams, but they also pick and chose some of the top players from other cities, other regions. The Spiders recruiting a lot of the Santa Barbara guys to come on north. And then a guy like Kirk Gibson, his plan is basically to fly from Denver to the Bay Area most weekends. You see that a lot, though, at the high levels of Ultimate. There's an incredible commitment shown. A lot of frequent flyer miles, too.
That's exactly right. A lot of these guys travel more than you would expect anyone who's not a consultant to be traveling.
Looking deep for Kevin Smith.
Nice touch pass there from Tyler Bacon. Threads the needle to Kevin Smith, who was a standout in the San Diego club season for many years. Also one of the stalwarts on the Mischief Championship teams.
So the Spiders able to hold despite a few turnovers. That's the type of throw that if you're playing beach ultimate on a windy day, that throw has no shot.
That's right. If you're playing in Chicago, good luck with that little barbecue backhand. It will not work.
Again, if you just joined us, this is the season opener of the 2014 AUDL season, the third year of competition for the American Ultimate Disc League. Evan Lepler with Chuck Kindred, great to have you with us. And the Spiders in the black pulling. The Flamethrowers on offense coming right to left. The first deep cut made by Lucas Dahlman. He couldn't shake his defender. There's so much space underneath, and Alex Nord's going to find it. For a guy like Alex Nord, who's already accomplished so much in the sport, for him to get a taste of this professional ultimate, the late stages of his career, I know it must mean a lot to him.
I think it does, and he's one of those guys that takes that service part of it pretty seriously. Likes to help younger players coming up.
Fans may have thought there was a hand block, but there was a contact foul.
And correction, Nord is right-handed. My mistake earlier.
He probably could throw a pretty good lefty backhand too, though.
I've seen it many times. I think that was why I was confused.
A great defense by the Spiders. That was Michael Keogh, one of the Condors, former UCLA captain. And Keogh doing it on offense as well.
Foul on San Francisco.
Foul on the Flamethrowers. To the end zone, Keogh bookends his D with a score. The first break belongs to San Jose.
Real nice point there by Michael Keogh. He's got such great energy, a great teammate. I've talked to a lot of guys who've played with this guy over the years, and people just love to play with him. You can see why. Very positive, plays hard, always trying to make a play. Look at that bid. Just elite level defense.
And a simple upline cut. Adam Rady, an excellent defender, but he had no chance.
Yeah, Rady is more of an offensive player for sure. Played in Long Beach and then won a couple championships with the Polar Bears, a co-ed team up here in the Bay Area. And he was the quarterback of those teams. He came through every time they needed him to. I think defense probably is not what he wants to be doing.
For many of these players who have played Ultimate for decades, this is their first time ever playing with referees. It's a different dynamic. Not only are you not making your own calls, but the stall count is shorter, and you have to keep it in your head rather than the defender keeping it for you.
It's right. Mentally, it's an adjustment. And also, you don't have any time to rest. There's no talk. There's no arguing about a foul or a travel. A travel is an immediate turnover. A foul is 10 yards, and it comes right back in.
From your experience, how closely do the referees call travels?
Last year, I didn't see that it made a very big impact.
Easy
when a
score.
travel's called and it's a turnover, it really changes things.
Jason Young hauls that in, a nice up line backhand to bring the Flamethrowers within one. It's such a costly penalty if you do drag that pivot foot.
It really is. In the club scene, some teams have been known to call travels just to bring the dispatch, just so they don't get scored on. That obviously is not part of the spirit of the game that makes the sport great. But in the pro game, that's just taken completely out of the equation. And if you're one of those guys who travels, and one of the guys like that is Bo Kittredge. He's been known to drag that left foot quite a bit on his forehands. And a turnover is just not acceptable.
Well, San Jose got the early break. And now the Spiders hoping that their offensive line can take care of business. And any line with Ashlyn Joy, Kurt Gibson, and Bo Kittredge, pretty good chance of scoring.
These guys, the past 3 years, they've been winning national titles, and they won a world championship together when Kurt came over and played with Revolver. So these are elite players. These are the top of the game.
Patrick Bayless was chasing Gibson. Upline put from Kittredge. And now looking deep. Marcelo Sanchez for the score.
Another really exciting play from Tyler Bacon, getting up line and jacking it deep. Marcelo Sanchez, one of these young up-and-comers, and he is very athletic, very hungry for the disc in the air.
Sanchez is 6'1" cutter, played at Las Positas.
For San Jose, Tyler Bacon.
And part of the Revolver Championship team in 2013.
Sanchez.
A lot of people said this year Revolver would have a down year. They lost Bart Watson and Robbie Cahill, arguably the two best players on the team, and they bounced back and were even better, won a title. It was really surprising what happens when you give these young guys a chance.
A lot of these guys will get a chance to play in Italy this summer in the World Championships, and members of Revolver on both these teams talked about how the AUDL season can help build that cohesiveness, can get you in that fine elite shape you need to be to win a world title.
And what an honor for these young guys to represent their country. I'm sure a lot of them are just thrilled to be going.
A juggle, but he hangs on. Jake Coleman sets it back to Chuck Cal. Dangerous throw and an easy D. The Spiders seeking a second break. A scuba underneath, but too far. Keogh gave up the body, but could not come up with a disc.
Yeah, a little bit of a risky throw there from Tim Gilligan. His man was poached. Probably didn't need to go with the scuba there, though. And here's Adam Rady handling. He rips it deep.
You gotta be kidding me. Greg Cohen. Nobody heard his footsteps coming.
Sammy CK was sleeping a little bit on that catch, and what an awesome play from the far side of the field. Remember, double teams are legal in the AUDL. You may see two guys.
Another big change. Looking deep, Peterson. The second break for San Jose.
And this home crowd is loving it. They are going nuts here. San Jose crowd turned out in numbers.
Yeah, it's great to see. And these teams know they will see each other again, but it's nice to throw the first haymaker. Look at the crowd react after Peterson hauls that in. So what are you seeing, Chuck, from San Francisco? A few careless throws, and it seems like that's all it's took.
I think that's right. They don't look that sharp. I think they're a little nervous and tentative. Some of these guys haven't played a lot together, especially this O-line. They've got great pieces, but these guys don't have years and years of reps, and that's probably in the early part of the year. You expect your O-line to score, and you might not get that kind of production out of them until they get to know each other a little better, and I think we're seeing that mostly from San Francisco. I wouldn't be concerned.
Simon Higgins rips the pull. OB. Well, an interesting dynamic after San Jose gets the break. They throw Joy, Gibson, and Kittredge out there for the deep point. Stephen Chang and Jeff Silverman also playing defense for the Spiders. Chris Thompson, former Cal Berkeley left-hander, out there as well defending. This is Nord. There's that left hand from Alex Nord.
Right on time, Alex.
Taylor Leahy flips it forward for Cassidy. Rasmussen over for Bayless, and to the end zone, it's Lucas Dahlman. That was revolver to revolver to revolver.
Yeah, nice to have Lucas Dahlman catch the goal. He was poached deep earlier in the point, and the crowd was calling for the throw. I think the other players just didn't see him open, but he ended up catching the goal anyway. Lucas Dahlman, really an up-and-coming talent here in the Bay Area. So springy, such a great guy to play with, real positive, kind of like Michael Keogh, and he's just getting better and better every time I see him.
Thought Lucas Dahlman was one of the unsung heroes of Revolver's 2013 championship run. A rookie on that team, had previously played mix, but he was a difference maker in those pool play games because he could take over a game, and he wasn't considered one of the stars, but a workman-like defensive horseman.
It's true, and he's one of those guys that can sprint, and then jump at full speed. And, you know, as you get older, that becomes harder, and some guys never really can do that well, and he's just outstanding at it. He can accelerate and then spring into the air better than a lot of guys I've seen.
So the Flamethrowers pull. Center it to Ashlyn Joy. Easy to spot with those fluorescent yellow cleats. Kittredge being shadowed again by Zach Travis. Flamethrowers talked about how they were going to mix up their looks at Bo. Put a really tall guy like Alex Nord on him and try to force him to go under. That disc looked down, and it was. And after they let Bo go under, maybe put a little shorter, quicker guy on him to perhaps make him comfortable, and then a layout D underneath could occur. But he is such a tough matchup.
It's true. He is a little bit lackadaisical sometimes when you're giving him the unders. He doesn't run at full speed, and you can catch him sleeping once in a while.
Travis sends it around. Chuck Cal. Part of the San Francisco Mischief team that made a run both at the U.S. Open and at Club Nationals. One thing I've noticed, Chuck, downfield is there's so much space. Guys can get out of the play and not clog. On a smaller field, usually you need to keep moving to help create space. But in this situation, I'm seeing guys just completely staying out of the play, as that's part of the strategy, is the Flamethrowers about 20 yards out from the end zone call the timeout.
It's a good point. I think it does have certainly a lot more space for these flat horizontal stacks that have become kind of the standard in the elite club scene. Also, you've got the potential to swing the disc over 40 yards to the other side of the field. That's so much farther than a normal club field that it makes it harder to poach. If you're on the far side of the field, you really can't leave your guy alone.
San Francisco.
Because if the disc swings, the entire team is in trouble.
Just over a minute to go in the first quarter. The Spiders a 2-point edge. San Francisco knocking on the door. If anybody questioned the
your San Jose Spiders
crowds that might show up here in Los Altos Hills, pretty good first opportunity to show that Ultimate can be supported in this area.
Absolutely. It looks pretty comparable to some of those big crowds we saw in Toronto last season. Be curious to see what the count is. We're going to try to get a count for you at halftime.
So out of the timeout, Rasmussen will have the disc. One of his roommates, Ashlyn Joy, who's his opponent, will mark him. They've practiced together. They've marked each other so many times, but not on national television.
That's the truth. Two young studs from local colleges here. Cassidy played at UC Santa Cruz, Ashlyn at UC Davis.
Back to Cassidy. Right on the doorstep, lefty backhand.
There you see that springy play from Lucas Dahlman. He can just jump out of the building.
The mystery partner of
Yun to Dahlman. The Flamethrowers are back within one.
Discover the mansion at
47 seconds to go in the half, in the quarter.
You can also participate in today's halftime game for a chance to win.
Yeah, one thing about the
tickets
San
for
Francisco
Mansion
Flamethrowers that I thought was interesting is that Matty Sang, who was the longtime coach of Fury, I believe he still coaches Fury, coached them to 7 consecutive titles, one of the best coaches in the sport. He was in charge of talent development and bringing in, basically setting up the San Francisco Flamethrowers roster, and I really trust his ability to put together a roster that will work.
And to develop players. One of the great minds in Ultimate helped to bring that gold medal for Team USA as a coach with Alex Gesquier, Dutchie. 47 seconds. And these end of quarter situations, again, if you're watching the AUDL for a first time, very different from typical club. Playing against the clock. Now you can score after time's expired if the disc is left the hand of the thrower with time on the clock. And just to clarify, there's no such thing as a greatest after the time's expired. Clock still running. The foul was called on Gibson, and he's using referees for the first time. 20 seconds in the quarter. He gets more yardage. How do you defend this situation?
Well, you're in a little bit of a pickle here if you're the San Francisco Flamethrowers. Only 10 yards. Big layout D. That's how you defend it, is you get a guy who's 6'6" with long arms to get a D for you.
And now it looks like everybody's trying to go deep. Over Gibson, what a grab. Nobody's there for Alex Nord's lefty backhand, and that'll wrap up the end of the first quarter.
A nice effort by the Flamethrowers. Got to give them credit.
San Francisco Flamethrowers 4,
Great action here at Foothill College. The Spiders up by 1 after the first 12 minutes.
I missed my graduation practice. I sleep so we could drill. I missed anniversary, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Saturday. I missed some plane flights. I even missed my parents' anniversary. I missed a lot.
Should we just do one mic?
1 down, 3 to go. Here at Foothill Stadium, the San Jose Spiders leading the San Francisco Flamethrowers 5-4. 36 minutes of Ultimate still to go. Welcome back to Foothill Stadium. Evan Lepler alongside the commissioner of the AUDL, Steve Gordon. Steve, what's it like for you to sit back and watch these two brand new teams go at it?
Well, Evan, obviously we're having a great game, two fantastic teams, tons of talent, tons of great plays. It's just a great way to start our relationship with ESPN.
This is the third year of the AUDL. How have we gotten to this point? Now 17 teams in 3 conferences and some of the best players in the country.
Yeah, as you said, Evan, I'll start with the last part of that. Some of the best players in the country here in the AUDL. It started as a dream with Josh Moore a couple years ago, and obviously has grown into all that we have now and will continue to grow over the next couple of years. We couldn't be more excited with where we are right now.
And let's talk about the partnership with ESPN. Where did that begin? Take us back to the beginning.
That's a great story. Actually, Josh Moore, who was the founder of the league originally, championed the idea of being with partnering with ESPN. Obviously, we would love to have had that relationship, and we had Josh make that contact, and we went through the process, and to our excitement, we ended up as partners, and we couldn't be happier about that either.
And with so many new franchises, San Francisco and San Jose, but also Montreal and a number of others, how have these teams joined the league, and what's your expectation for going forward?
Yeah, first of all, adding Montreal was a great fit on the East Coast for us, or I should say the Eastern Division. Was a little out of character, obviously, with all that we were doing heading west, but we thought it did a great job of kind of cornering that area which we wanted to do. Coming out west was the natural flow for us this season. We see ourselves next year going into other areas of the country as well. So it's all just fitting the footprint that we put in front of ourselves, and we're happy with where it's going.
Last thing I'll ask you, you've seen this crowd react to scores in the first 12 minutes. How do you react to this crowd's reaction? How gratifying is that for you at the top of the AUDL pyramid?
Yeah, very, very exciting. Obviously, to see the size crowd that we have, but also the passion that they're displaying as well. We've got, I think, we got 1,000 plus, I'm sure. But great crowd, they're excited, and it's a lot of fun tonight.
The commissioner of the AUDL, Steve Gorton. Steve, thanks so much. Have a safe trip back to Chicago, and good luck to your wildfire tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Evan. Appreciate it.
We got the second quarter about to begin. We'll welcome Chuck Kindred back as the Spiders lead by 1, and San Jose will pull to begin the second quarter. Well, all of a sudden, Chuck, San Francisco's in position to get back on serve as they receive to begin quarter number 2.
That's right. It seems like San Francisco's in a good spot. They got their O-line on the field. Probably Eli Janning catching the centering pass here. Let's see what they got. So a junky coverage here. And Nord falls asleep. Deep cutter is open, and that'll be an easy goal. Blown assignment there by one of the Spiders who was playing center field.
Brandon Fine, 27-year-old from Santa Cruz, hauls it in. Yeah, that certainly was not your typical man-to-man defense. When you say junky defense, you don't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but in that situation, it clearly didn't work.
That's right. Junk in ultimate lingo just means a zone defense, kind of like in any other sport. You're not playing a man, you're playing an area, and you can see the receiver just got released deep between 2 of the defenders. Neither of them picked him up, and that's that. When you're playing a zone, got to keep your head up.
We are tied 5-5. San Francisco coached by Zeph Landau, who, in addition to Matt Sang, helping to put the game plan together. Zeph Landau, experience in New York and at Harvard, and most recently UC Berkeley, a longtime ultimate mind and thinker. The evolution of coaching in this sport over just the last 10 years is really remarkable.
It is. They've gotten so much more intelligent. It's been led a lot by Matty Sang. I went over to his house once for dinner, and he had about 16 books.
Looking deep for Gibson. Too easy.
He's so fast. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't understand if you haven't seen him live. He is so fast, and you saw him get open there. I was saying earlier about Matty Sang. I went over to his house. He's got a whole shelf of his bookshelf covered with books on coaching, team, fitness, training, mental, visualization exercises. This guy is an absolute student of how to coach, and it shows.
Right now, he needs to devise a game plan to stop Kurt Gibson and maybe cancel his next plane ticket or something from Denver.
That would be a good start.
Elsewhere in AUDL action earlier today, the defending champions, the Toronto Rush, nearly lost for the first time, but Toronto held on to beat the DC Breeze 20-19. You were talking earlier how you think the DC Breeze could be really one of the top teams in this league when it's all said and done. The additions of the former Pittsburgh Stars, Tyler DiGirolamo and Alex Thorne, Brett Matsuka, an alternate on the USA World Team, a great handler. But the most important piece, just like Matt saying is so important as a coach in the Bay Area, Alex Guesquier, your former Revolver teammate. To the end zone, great speed, but unable to reach out, Patrick Bayless. That would have been a spectacular catch, but one he fully expected to make.
Absolutely. I'm surprised it bounced off his hand. Maybe it's nerves, not sure, but that's Pat Bayless. We expect him to make those plays.
Stall count did not begin until there was a defender in the area.
Yeah, to revisit Dutchy, the coach of the DC Breeze.
Alex Guesquier.
Correct. He's former Revolver player, former Revolver captain and coach. And he coached the Worlds team with Matty Sang.
And then undid Matt Sang's Fury dominance this past October in Frisco.
In
DC scandal.
Absolutely incredible. It doesn't hurt to have great players, that's for sure. But wow.
Looking in the end zone in traffic in the pass. Not enough float. Seeking the cutting Brett Peterson. This looks like a basic horizontal stack. 3 handlers, 4 across. The typical club field is 40 yards wide. The AUDL field, 53 1/3 yards wide. A lot more space to isolate cutters.
And Slovin going deep. Nick Slovin.
Can he get there? Nathan White trailing defensively.
Nick Slovin, a captain of Blackbird, co-ed team, 2-time national champ. A couple guys on the line for San Francisco that are not your typical body types for Ultimate. Nick is one of them. This guy is 240 pounds, former wrestler.
Just out of the reach of Gilligan.
A nice run there by Gilligan. A standout at UC San Diego, just made the move over to Revolver, and he is turning into a star.
Gilligan's done a lot of great work as a handler in this game. That disc elusive in the end zone. Former all-region recipient at San Diego State, as you mentioned. In terms of field length, 80 yards from front of one end zone to the other. And you may think that 10 yards difference is not that big of a deal, but when you're used to that throw in the club scene is different. Alex Nord, the fingertips too slippery.
That was an incredible vintage bid there from Alex Nord. He was known for jumping over people's head, diving, extending over the top, and he wishes he could have that one back.
Trying to turn back the clock.
Absolutely. Google Alex Nord and see if you can find some pictures of him at Carleton. He had some absolutely ridiculous diving catches. A lot like that.
The legs don't work the same at 34 as they did at 24.
That's the truth.
Timeout called. 7:49 to play here in the second quarter.
And local legend Idris Nolan is the game day coach for the San Jose Spiders. Got a chance to talk to him. He's pretty excited at all the new talent here. And he's still learning personnel, to be honest. There's a lot of new faces on the scene. Idris was a champion on Jam and one of those guys out of UC Santa Cruz that was just larger than the game for a stretch. Him and Damian Scott both.
Would you consider Nolan one of the more intellectual, strategic thinkers in Ultimate?
He's incredible. If you talk to him, you'll know who you're talking to. This guy can design a defense or an offense to beat the other team on the fly. I've never really been around a guy with a brain for the sport kind of like his. It's all strategic and it's on demand.
Here's our crew from Fulcrum Media, doing a fine job bringing you this action on ESPN3 and watch ESPN.com. A new era of Pro Ultimate.
Looks like possibly a double team coming on Kirk Gibson here to start.
Something that he has not dealt with, except some critics might say the Florida folks are used to double teams. I wouldn't say that, but other critics might.
They might. Here we see the double team right away. Quick swing.
Known for that four-man cup pioneered by Kurt Dollenberg.
Wow, and Kevin Smith delivers a dime to Kirk Gibson going away.
Gibson a big pivot forward for Ashland Joy. Smith wide open, the trailer.
Kevin Smith so dangerous with the disc. Look at that.
Oh, what
break.
a brick. High backhand, Kittredge. Kittredge the score, but that point was about the deep shot to Kirk Gibson.
It was well set up. Kurt's got such great speed that when he has a step, you just throw it as far as you can. That's the game plan.
The evolution of ultimate strategy continues. What are your thoughts on the effectiveness of the double team? Because clearly San Francisco never recovered, and you leave spots in your defense vulnerable if you start with two guys on the disc, and Gibson got it away to his teammate pretty easily.
It's true. I've only seen it work near the sideline, and the only team that I really saw apply it with any real effectiveness last year was the Madison Radicals, and they really caused some headaches for the Chicago team last year. It was kind of incredible. They had a big mark and a very intelligent mark, and they were able to contain the arounds and just double up when it hit the sideline, and they caused a lot of problems last year.
So you think the key to the double team is big arms, big mark?
Yeah, I think you wind it in real close once you get it to the sideline, but you got to contain almost like a cup until you get there. But what do I know?
Quite a bit. Chuck Kindred has been in Nationals half dozen times, now the coach of Northwestern. I know you're proud of your boys.
I am so proud.
Although you sort of left him hanging at sectionals this weekend.
You know.
Great to have you here in the Bay Area, your old home, a great haven for ultimate. The Flamethrowers, and a mistake. Clay Miller, Butterfingers.
I'm not sure what happened on that. It looked like maybe some kind of miscommunication, or maybe it was a call.
I thought he just dropped it.
You might be right.
Silverman gives chase. No, sir.
That speed was incredible from Silverman. He hit 2 extra gears on the way down the field. I didn't even think that was going to be close. A fixture in the Santa Barbara Seam, Jeff Silverman, he has come to play.
No stranger to a track workout.
No, he is not.
This is Sam C.K., Sam Chatterton Kirchmeyer. Big part of Sockeyes run and then played for Chain Lightning.
That's right. Sammy threw a break mark for a championship against Furious George that made Mike Grant almost rip his hair out of his head.
And if the Flamethrowers are going to be at the top of this division when all's said and done come July, Sammy C.K. is going to be a big part of this team, as is Lucas Dahlman. He's not in the end zone yet. A lot of float, and the D.
I like the choice. Maybe his coaches don't, but a heck of a neat blade over the top to Nick Slovin didn't work out for him.
Well, Greg Cohen had other ideas defensively. Just a little bit too much air under that bladey forehand.
Yeah, it's harder than it looks to come in and make that play without fouling, too, by the way, especially against a big guy like Nick. He made a great defensive play.
It's the great thing about ultimate and throwing the Frisbee. You can let it float forever and you can chase it down forever, but in a tight space, if you give the defense a little too much time, get ready to play defense. A misread from Cohen. Defended well by San Francisco.
Yeah, some questionable throws are starting to creep into this game. Big, bladey forehands and backhands. Those are generally low percentage, and you wouldn't expect to see them in nice weather like this.
4 minutes left in the half.
Nowhere near the sideline, gets it to his former Sockeye teammate.
Wow, a near point block and then a diving catch to maintain possession.
What a sequence. It was Patrick Bayless who kept it alive for the San Francisco Flamethrowers.
It's a heck of a play.
That's a big score with just over 3.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter.
The print partner of the San Jose Spiders.
And we've got ourselves a game just like we thought we might. Look at that adjustment there and catch by Patrick Bayless.
Chatterton Kirchmeier flips it into the end zone for the score.
Evan, you played against Kirk Gibson in college, is that correct?
We saw each other. You know, I don't want to brag.
Oh, you can brag. So tell me how fast he is. I mean, I never really guarded him.
Faster than me.
Fair enough.
He is the total package. All the throws, all the breaks, unbelievable at reading the disc. And when he was playing at Florida in those very competitive championship years, there was a stall count, I believe.
Correct.
And this will be a turnover, a big opportunity here for San Francisco, excuse me. It was amazing to me how Kirk Gibson played every point the way he did. And that was part of the training regimen that they instituted down in Gainesville. Oh, that's a great defensive play to get to this back, Eli Kearns. But a whistle.
I believe the call is a strip. So San Francisco will maintain possession. Nice effort on the D.
In 2004, Kirk Gibson narrowly beat me out for Atlantic Coast Freshman of the Year. Just like LeBron James is going to, narrowly edge out Norris Cole for the MVP.
That's well said. And
San Francisco. Greg, it's Chris Kasednar. Played in the championship game with Sockeye this past October.
Yeah, that's a great addition to the Bay Area ultimate scene. He's a veteran. He's played in another system, so he can bring some of that great experience. Sokkeye's been just elite for the longest time, and they really have a different kind of a fiery, exciting way of playing. It's very different than the revolver mentality.
San Francisco has never led, and it feels like the Flamethrowers have been playing catch-up all the way, but here we are, 7-all.
Well, this is what we were looking to see here. We're seeing the San Francisco Flamethrowers D-line playing the San Jose Spiders O-line. This is the two strongest lines doing battle.
And one of the key San Francisco D-line guys, Yo Kawaoka, not active tonight. He's actually traveling to China right now. But he's a big piece of this team. That'll be back later this year. But when they divided up some of the best revolver players among these two teams, there's a bit of an effective double team, but a high lefty backhand to Joy. Now, guys like Joy and Kittredge and Sanchez and Nathan White, some of the key revolver offensive line players against some of the great D-line players. Guys like Kawaoka, Lucas Dahlman, Patrick Bayless, Andrew Hagan, guys like that. Sam Canner, of course, as well. Great footwork from Kittredge. It seems like we haven't called his name too much except for a few easy scores.
Yeah, you know, Bo's one of those guys that sort of hangs in the cut, and if the game is close at the end, don't be surprised if he absolutely turns it on and starts dominating. He's been known to do that throughout his career.
Ashland Joy to Bo Kittredge.
Not the first time that you'll see joy to Kittredge.
No, definitely not the first time. And I was really having a good time watching Ashland's footwork during that last point. If you get a chance, watch how he sets up his throws, collects himself after a cut, breaks the mark. It seems to be all driven by his lower body. It's really, he's very balanced. He gets out wide, very smooth, and always just seems to have his center of gravity when he's making these throws. He's very hard to guard.
Well, isn't it fair to say that the key to great break throws is that balance and flexibility?
That's what I've always heard. I just moved my release points because I'm not very athletic, but some of the greats do step out.
I remember the first time I saw Josh Zipperstein play at the Boston Invite about 10 years ago. And, I'm about the same size as Josh Zipperstein, but I'm not even close to the caliber of athleticism. And the thing I noticed about him, his pivots and the pivots of elite players are so quick. And a piece of advice I'd give to young players is work on the quickness of your pivot, being able to get from one side to the other without traveling. Because if you can threaten that breakthrough, it just opens everything up.
It's really true. And even if you're a guy who's not all that tall, doesn't have very long arms like a Bob Lou from Chicago Wildfire, you can still step out and move that release point way out to the side. And if you have open hips and strong legs so you can lunge out, you can break anybody you want.
Some contact and a whistle. A yardage penalty. Do you like these yardage penalties?
Foul, San Jose.
I do. I wish they would do them a little quicker.
It's week one for the referees, too.
It's true.
Referees are Jim Lemon, Simon Margolis, Wes Chow, and Ryan Carrington. And so far, I don't think we've had too much controversy. They have been largely unnoticed, which is a good thing. Final 35 seconds before halftime. How much do you think about stalling here to try to, take the last shot?
I think you gotta take what's given to you here. But you're right. If they swing it a couple more times, what's the difference?
And you might have to force it to the end zone.
Another big bid from Michael Keogh.
10 seconds. Kasednar. The fans providing the countdown. One last throw. And we are tied at half.
What an awesome throw from Eli Jan. He saw the clock was winding down, knew he had to get it over the defender's head, and just flips a little inside-out scuba for the goal.
And that's the end of the first half, folks. With your San Jose Spiders.
It was like John Wooden designed that last second play. That was perfect.
8-8. And please don't forget to visit our great vendors and grab yourself some dinner.
San Jose up a couple breaks early. But after 24 minutes, we are all square between two Bay Area giants. Kasednar calmly up the line, and the scuba over the top. Leaving no time left for San Jose to respond.
Just like you said, wind that clock down, throw it to the end zone.
Let's want some free swag.
Halfway home here in the AUDL season opener on ESPN. It's the Spiders and the Flamethrowers, even 8 apiece.
All right, that's better. Let's go down here. All right. Let's get a little bit faster.
I missed my graduation to practice. I sleep so we could drill. I missed anniversary, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Saturday. I missed some plane flights. I even missed my parents' anniversary. I missed a lot.
want us to talk? Back here at Los Altos Hills Foothill Stadium, taking a look at some of these first half highlights. Quite a bit of action as we're tied 8-8.
Yeah, you know, Michael Keogh setting the tone with these big bids. Here's a nice deep shot to Sammy CK, and look at that far side D. Huge layout, caught the receiver totally off guard.
For the Lightspeed runners, please go to the field.
Yeah. That's a heck of a play.
Flamethrower didn't realize that the second defender was coming.
And there we see Nord doing what he's been doing for over a decade, getting layout blocks on big points. Here's Patrick Bayless, wishes he could have this one back. He made a great run and just couldn't reel it in. And here's Eli Janning, very creative thrower, power from any position, and Nord just barely could not pull it in.
All right, guys. I think that's the most exciting.
You can't beat Father Time, Alex Nord. You still got a lot left in the tank, though. This was another great play to make this close.
And here's Lucas Dahlman showing them all how it's done, getting down, making the catch, and eventually throwing a blade that did not work.
Yeah, Cohen able to close the gap on Nick Sloven.
Lightspeed runners, please go to the field.
There's that great play from Pat Bayless, going down and getting it, maintaining possession for his team, and allowing this to happen. A nice, easy goal to Eli.
It's just week one, but this field and these layouts are going to leave some marks that will linger tomorrow and next week as these teams continue their seasons.
That's right. This is the beginning of a really, really heated rivalry, and we're seeing players stepping up.
Great look at some of the first half highlights. We have no clear advantage yet. The Spiders and the Flamethrowers. A great rivalry has begun, and the second half is coming up.
Now it's time for the Lightspeed Dash. Lightspeed Venture Partners, the title sponsor of the San Jose Spiders, knows that it's all about speed, whether it be in the startup world or on the ultimate field. This race will be run at all Spiders home games. If your organization or company is interested in fielding a team in the future, contact us at sjspiders.com. This evening's Lightspeed Dash will be a showdown between the three Google engineers, Patricia Lee, Nate Hamer, Don Burnett, and three current and former Apple engineers, Sarah Clausen, Jan Clausen, and Peter Nia, an engineer at Apple during the Steve Jobs' first era and now a partner at Lightspeed. please clear the field. Lightspeed dash runners, are you ready? On your mark, get set, go! Give it up for our Lightspeed dashers.
This thing plays some hard D, dude.
Congratulations to the Mountain View
This
team.
thing plays hard D.
Team Eric and Cancer Care Point are providing guidance and support for parents and kids dealing with cancer. Help spread their message by donating $1 to $10 for each point Kurt scores or Kurt points. Find out more at their booth at tonight's game. The second half is about to begin with your San Jose Spiders starting on offense.
Welcome back to Foothill Stadium, everybody. The AUDL continues on ESPN. Evan Lepler and Chuck Kindred with you. 8-8, your halftime score, and the second half about to begin. Chuck, your keys to the second half for both of these teams. What does San Francisco have to do to take its first lead? And I mean, how can San Jose sustain that separation?
I think San Francisco has to start breaking. They've got the elite defenders. They've got the better D-line. They've got to start making turnovers happen and punching them in. I think if you're San Jose, you need to settle down. Bo needs to step it up. They need him. You can see here he's working downfield and immediately delivering a deep shot.
Plenty of float, but just a little shot.
Little miscommunication there. Marcelo Sanchez had turned under, almost was able to reset and get the catch, but not quite enough float on that flick from Bo.
Looked like Sanchez was cutting in. Miscommunication there, and a chance for San Francisco to take its first lead. Cassidy Rasmussen, the center handler, gives it off to Clay Miller. A two-man game near the danger zone of a Callahan. More of a punt than anything, and Kittredge cleans it up. It's the first time today we've seen Bo Kittredge go up for a disc.
That's right. Wow, a big layout on the underneath and collected by San Jose. What a sequence.
San Francisco giving the Spiders a lot of space underneath. Kittredge among the handlers. Back to Joy. Joy shoots one long. Perfect put. Eli Kearns, all he had to do was run to the right spot.
Just an outstanding wind and delivery there by Ashland Joy. He's so precise, and really, when you're open, you just should expect the disc to be coming your way, and that's exactly what we saw. Eli Kearns, one of these young up-and-coming guys in the Bay Area scene, right place at the right time.
Scoring for San Jose, Ashland Joy to Eli Kearns.
Ashland Joy has been around Ultimate for a very long time. And you talked about his balance and footwork. Great extension on the outward pivot to release that throw.
Yeah, watch him set it up here, collects himself, steps out, doesn't overextend, and just delivers the disc. A lot of guys, they rush that throw, they lean too far forward, and they get out ahead of the receiver. Not Ashland.
Perfect angle, perfect disc rotation, perfect put. Missed opportunity there for the Flamethrowers. San Francisco has played catch-up all night. Chuck Cow. The first dump wasn't there, so Patrick Bayless comes to help out as the stall count rose. Bayless was open deep for a minute, instead comes under. Couple Flamethrowers had a chance, but it'll be the Spiders' disc. That type of throw you can't execute in the club scene. Much wider field. Deep shot. Spiders by 2. Greg Cohen, the recipient. And here at Foothill Stadium, San Jose Spiders Central, and the fans getting into it.
And the San Jose Spiders players are getting loose, having some fun. That's one thing that Idris said he wanted to happen. Keep the guys loose, keep them having a good time. That was one of the staples of the San Francisco Jam teams that Idris led. And they're having a good time out here.
Another gorgeous delivery. And nothing that the defender Nick Slovan could do. Well, this is absolutely a statement game for both of these teams. Not the be-all, end-all. It's a long season. Both of these teams will see foes like the Salt Lake Lions, another inaugural team, next. And then the Seattle Raptors play the squad from Vancouver as well. But I think most people seem to think these are the two teams in the Western Division to really look out for.
That would be my guess. We haven't seen the entire package up there in the Pacific Northwest. There may be some outstanding play up there as well.
Nobody's really seen the Salt Lake Lions. They're the biggest mystery in the entire league, I think.
That's a good point.
Up line. San Francisco counters as Taylor Leahy chopped his steps into the end zone.
Want to see a women's showcase game May 31st at Foothill College? The Spiders would like to support TechBridge by bringing women's ultimate to young girls before.
Let's talk about the Midwest Division for a minute. Madison, pretty strong squad. Chicago, obviously a lot of talent. The machine guys. You know, Indianapolis has some pretty good players as well. How do you handicap that race?
Well, I'm curious to see how Machine's official relationship with the Wildfire will go this year. Last year, there was no official relationship between the club team in Chicago and the pro team. This year, the captains are on board and they have an official arrangement. And as a result, guys like Weldon Nelson, one of the captains of Machine, is now playing on the Wildfire and is one of the captains of Wildfire. I think that could pay dividends. They'll bring some of that chemistry into the pro season. So we'll have to see. I still think Madison's your front runner.
Madison Radicals led by Tim DeVille. Looking deep for Gibson. That was an impossible play, and Kurt is upset with himself that he didn't make it.
I think we all expected him to get there. I'm not sure physically how it's possible, but when Kurt Gibson goes deep, that should be that. Couldn't quite get under it there.
That was a thread-the-needle type throw, both with the tilt and the angle of the disc and the back corner of the end zone creeping forward. Great layup, but unsuccessful. Mark Elbogen giving up the body. 7.5 minutes to play in this third quarter. The Flamethrowers have never led, but they've kept it close. Alex Nord couldn't get there. Not enough air under that flick. Risky throw from midfield. The break for Joy. Look out.
There you see what could be a travel from Bo. And I think he had to reset before he was allowed to throw.
This defender was confused. Double team leads to a turnover.
So here we're seeing some effective double teaming by the Flamethrowers. They are causing trouble, and they're not giving up too much. They're playing it intelligently. I think that's key.
I think that delay on Kittredge may have been the new rule that, you know, traveling on the catch, turning forward is not necessarily a travel and a turnover. It's just a reset.
Correct. Yeah. If he had set his foot and then thrown and traveled, that'd be a turn. So a good distinction to keep in mind.
Flamethrowers just a little too far ahead of the intended target.
Yeah, Adam Rady delivered that. It was a little bit hot coming off his hand. I think he wished he could have maybe put a little more touch on it. We see him here.
He had a throwing lane too.
He did.
Double team on Kittredge and right through Joy's grasp. See what kind of transition offense San Francisco can create it.
The handlers of San Jose are having problems right now with these double teams. They're panicking. They're making bad throws. Bo, however, makes the play, gets the disc back. And he's started going deep, and that can mean one thing. The throw goes up. Let's see what happens.
Oh, what a great D by Adam Rady.
Adam Rady, not the person you'd expect to go up and D-Bo, but he made that look easy.
We got to see that replay after this point because Bo was trailing almost like he knew he could catch up. Then he turned on the burners and completely put himself in position. Rady countered with a perfect timing. That was sensational.
It was. He kept his eye on the disc, and that's really important. Bo started playing position, and as he's gotten older, he's done more and more of that. Paid more attention to getting his shoulders in front of the defender, and sometimes you just give up that natural ability of Bo's to just go up and get the disc.
Timeout called on the field. We'll take a look at this. Bo Kittredge listed at 6'3". Adam Rady listed at 6'2". Kittredge with a reputation about 100 feet tall. But Adam Rady makes the play.
You can see there, Bo puts his right shoulder down, gets position on the underneath, and is kind of expecting Adam to release. Adam keeps balance and gets up, gets a hand on the disc. You can see Bo goes for position and Adam goes up.
Rogerson Chiropractic is a proud
Back
partner
in the
of
early
your
days
San
of Bo
Jose
Kittredge, when he played
Spiders.
at Colorado, in his
Rogerson
early days on
Chiropractic
Bravo, he
handles
used to just
automobile
jump
accidents,
into the
sports
clouds
injuries,
and catch
and
discs. He
patients
didn't
with
pay
chronic
any attention
pain.
to shoulders.
Visit
Into the clouds, over people.
RogersonChiropractic.com
Absolutely.
or
There's
talk
a
to
video
Dr.
that you
Mike
can probably
after the
find of
game.
Bo
That's
jumping over a defender.
RogersonChiropractic.com.
Caught it before he even thought it was time to jump. That's how much more athletic Bo was back in the day. Now he's probably more of a horizontal player. A lot of guys make that transition from being very vertical to very horizontal. It may be that that's what's happening.
When you're working with your college players, what's the most important thing in terms of teaching young players to read the disc in the air?
I think you need to be intelligent. You need to know what your advantages are. If you're a bigger guy, if you're a taller guy and you're good in the air, then you need to play to that advantage. You give a guy a step deep, bait the throw, and then really just go up and make sure you have vertical position. If you're a shorter guy, you're going to have to play your hips. You're going to have to really pay attention to position. And basically just make sure you're in your strength position.
It's not all about height. This over-the-top look to the end zone for Rankin. 15-yard penalty if you're Jimmy Graham. No violation of the AUDL.
And your San Jose Spiders
and he's going to get a $10,000
welcome
fine,
the
that's for
260
sure.
guests from Lightspeed startups that are in attendance at tonight's
Not a bad
game.
set play out of the timeout,
We
would
are
you
delighted
say?
that so
That
many
was
of you
nice.
could make it
Cassidy
out
with
tonight.
real nice touch here. Watch this cut, though. Sets him up underneath. When you got Cassidy Raspin with the disc, nice flat touch throw out to space. I mean, that's pretty incredible how easy they made that look.
It's been the story of the night. San Jose has not been able to create the separation. The Flamethrowers, so familiar with their opponent, not panicking, falling behind.
That's one thing that won't happen here. If you're the Flamethrowers or the San Jose Spiders, you're on a team full of national and world champions. These guys have been in the big games, and they know how to pull through. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as we move into the fourth quarter here. Some pretty exciting cutting downfield for Marcelo Sanchez, setting up his defender. And Tyler Bacon wide open underneath.
Bacon and Ashland Joy shop for their cleats at the same store.
Another nifty around break there from Kevin Smith. His nickname is Dollar, because when he's got the disc, it's catch.
Up line into traffic, but Kittredge is there to the end zone. Kittredge to Smith.
And a nice play there by Bo. He had a turnover, I think, on one of his more recent possessions here. Sometimes you get a little tentative. And he made a nice, measured, calculated throw there to Kevin Smith for the goal.
Scoring for San Jose, Bo Kittredge to Kevin Dollar Smith.
You see how Bo really creates separation. We mentioned it earlier, but really where he separates himself from all the other players is the first 3 steps of acceleration. Watch how he just leaves his defender in the dust. That's Zach. I'm forgetting his last name, but that's an elite defender on the revolver line. Zach Travis. He shuts down some of the best cutters in the game, and Bo just left him in the dust.
I think the sentiment pretty widespread in our game is that Bo Kittredge is the top athlete in the sport, and it's not even close. A great pickup for the AUDL and the San Jose Spiders, and he's really become a great ambassador for the sport. The big deal was if you bought a season ticket package to see the San Jose Spiders, you got the brand new Bo Kittredge bobblehead, and more than most bobbleheads, I think it actually looks a little bit like him.
It does. It's a little scary. Yeah, Bo, very interesting guy. Grew up in Alaska playing pickup, very athletic. Came down and tried out for the Olympics, was in the Olympic trials in the 400. And he also writes children's books. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that have that pedigree.
I asked him what his day-to-day lifestyle is like, and he said basically he writes for 7 to 8 hours a day, trains for 2 to 3 hours a day, and yeah, it's a full day.
It sure is, and you do not want to train with him, by the way. I tried it, worst decision I ever made.
What happened?
We ran up hills until I quit and he kept going.
How long did it take you to quit?
Well, not long, let's put it that way. But then he made me spaghetti.
So, though a writer, ultimate star, and Italian chef.
Not exactly, but it was edible, let's put it that way.
The flamethrowers on the doorstep. Desperation Scuba, and it works perfectly. San Francisco to the end zone for Rady. Rady's score was easy. The over-the-top Scuba leading to the score. That was a little dicey.
Yeah, they're making a living on that throw. Eli Janin threw one to end the first half, and here Patrick Bayless just says, you know what? I know you're looking for it. I know you throw it. Why not do this for our reset?
Kids, remember, this is the last call for the face painters. Go check them out.
Maybe it's just because I never developed the Scuba as much as I should have. I was a forehand, backhand hammer guy. But it seems like every good player uses the Scuba as such an effective weapon.
It's true, you know, and on the West Coast especially, that lefty backhand break for right-handed throwers, between that and the Scuba, there's so many quick, short breaks that have become a staple in the elite club scene that it's really interesting. 10 years ago, that was a very rare, kind of frowned-upon throw by that old guard. And now it's like if I'm open on it underneath and you throw a forehand to me, it's almost like, what are you doing? That's a lefty backhand these days.
.220 and change to go in the third quarter. Oh, a bullet. There was contact. Joy expected the foul, and the whistle came late, but it did arrive.
Looked like the defender agreed on that one. There is also, for those who don't know, an integrity rule. So if the ref
Violation
gets
in
a
San
call
Francisco.
wrong and the player on the field knows differently, they can overturn the ref's call and say, you know what, I did foul him. And we've seen that quite a few times.
Spirit of the game still permeates even at the professional level. Great to see.
It really is. You know, there's been a lot of dialogue in the Ultimate community about Pro Ultimate and how refs really is ruining that spirit of the game aspect.
A tremendous poaching bid from Travis. It still found its way to Sanchez, but then Sanchez threw it away.
Yeah, and they call that the law of conservation of greatness there. You make a great play and then you immediately make a turnover. Unfortunately, that happened for Marcelo Sanchez.
Just rushed the release. And now San Francisco looking for its first lead of the night. Underneath, it's Cow. The flamethrowers on the doorstep and in the lead here in San Jose.
And the air has come out of the crowd here. They're a little dejected. I'm noticing that some of these guys that are playing a lot of points for the San Jose Spiders look tired. You can see Ashland kind of dragging a little bit, jogging back to the line. One thing that, you know, I got a chance to talk to A.J. Nelson about, and a lot of these other guys as well, it was brought up earlier, these fields are a lot bigger than a club field. So some of these guys are getting gassed, and they're really not used to being tired ever.
And in the second half in particular, guys like Joy and Kittredge have taken fewer points on the sidelines. There's much less time in between points to rest.
It's absolutely right, and it really does add up. You know, when you get into the third and fourth quarter, if you've been playing quite a few points, you are tired.
I've had a bunch of conversations about where Ultimate is going with television, getting more involved, and one of the big things for TV is limiting the time in between points. As a broadcaster, I love it because it means more action. But I remember being a player and trying to conserve energy to you know, work that motor up for the next point, and you try to take as much time as you possibly could and milk that break.
You sure do, and a lot of guys make a travel call, make a foul call, talk about it, and maybe it's subconscious, but in any event, it sure does let you catch your breath.
Gibson shoots it for Joy. 9 yards out. San Jose ties it 12-12.
Wow, and what an elevator dropping out forehand from Ashland Joy. Looked kind of like something Robbie Cahill on Revolver used to do, where he sets up and then all of a sudden he's all the way down to the turf on his release point. Very tough to guard.
Eli Kern streaking up the sideline. That's an easy throw for Kirk Gibson. At least he makes it look easy.
Yeah, that's one of his go-tos.
What do you mean with the elevator release here?
So you just see he's not even lunging out, so you don't see it coming, and then he drops his whole upper body down, gets out wide and low. And it's so quick, and there's really no footwork to it. It's very hard as a mark to know it's coming.
Well, here we go, another very important end of quarter situation. San Francisco will get the pull to begin the fourth. So a score here in the final seconds would be gigantic. Again, as long as the throw is released before time expires, you can connect with the end zone when it's all zeros. Long way to go, though. But he hangs on. In traffic. Incomplete. And that'll do it. Or was there a whistle?
Look at this throw by Eli Jannon. So creative with the disc. Throws a blade off his back foot that sets up this deep shot. Let's see if we can see what happens here.
Looks like they're putting a second and a half back on the clock, which will give San Jose a chance perhaps to shoot it deep. Referees will come together. Quarter is not over yet.
Please put 5 seconds back on the game clock.
So 5 seconds on the clock. You can see Idris Nolan out there with the clipboard setting up a play for his San Jose Spiders. Let's see what they come up with here. They got a chance to maybe get a deep shot, maybe a 50-50 ball that one of these guys can come down with.
You know, somebody in this pro league is going to be, you know, the Nick Saban or the Chip Kelly, the visionary in these end of quarter situations as to how to create space in a limited amount of time and make things happen. Because this is a strategic opportunity that we really haven't seen in the ultimate realm in the history of the sport.
It's true. Normally there's a timeout or there's breaks between points. You don't see something like this where you're kind of scrambling to design something on the fly. If anybody can do it, Idris can. Let's see what they come up with. They're set up pretty well here. They've got a couple guys that can really huck the disc well. They got Ashland Joy, Kevin Smith, Tim Gilligan, and they got their big guys lining up deep. So they're probably going to swing the disc once or twice, probably just once, and just rip it to the end zone. We'll see what they can come up with here.
Bo Kittredge is deep for San Jose, surrounded by 3 white jerseys. Nathan White, another big target, deep for San Jose. Kirk Gibson as well. Maybe they try to get one short throw and then the deep launch.
Yeah, the Marks should be able to take an immediate huck to the end zone here away. So they'll probably need one throw to a huck.
And a great D, but there was a whistle before the play. Violation on the start, perhaps?
It could be. It's starting to look like a club ultimate game here. Pace is slowing a little bit.
Thankfully, we don't have the official reviews that they had in the NCAA tournament.
Reset the game clock to 5 seconds. Clock should start on the first completion.
So the clock does not start until the disc is touched by someone other than the first thrower. Gives San Jose some more time.
And Gilligan's got a wide open look. He just bombs it up into the end zone. Let's see who comes down with it.
The Spiders, an improbable finish to the third quarter.
Gilligan to Simon Higgins.
Wow, just an incredible play there by the Spiders. It seems like a blown assignment to me by the Flamethrowers. Tim Gilligan gets the disc here with no mark.
Flamethrowers 12 and your San Jose Spiders 13.
It's an unbelievable play by Higgins. Timed the jump perfectly. How do you defend this?
I thought San Francisco was in a pretty good position to make the play. As you can see, he was on the back end the whole time. I think he just outread the rest of the players. It was a big bender, and he was there.
San Jose goes 80 yards in 5 seconds to take the lead at the end of 3 here in the season opener. Stay with us.
Number 4, Simon Higgins.
I missed my graduation. Practice. I sleep so we could drill. I missed anniversary, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Saturday. I missed some plane flights. I even missed my parents' anniversary. I missed a lot.
Lead.
Silverman.
But the action really heated up.
It did, and the crowd really got into it at the end. They were fired up to see the Spiders get another look at this goal, and they capitalized. Got to be happy if you're Andrew Zill, the owner of the San Jose Spiders.
A great ultimate atmosphere. That might have been the play of the quarter defensively.
It was something else.
Adam Rady shocking the Spider Nation by D'ing up Bo Kittredge.
And number 99, Tim Gilligan.
Another slam dunk from Zane Rankin.
The stats leaders for tonight's game are, with 3 Ds from the San Jose Spiders, number 50.
Kittredge up line to Adam Smith. Kevin Smith, and he was cash money.
Sure was. That's Dollar doing his thing. We started to see some of these interesting throws from Eli Jannon, known to be a creative thrower, and he was kind of the quarterback of some of those really top-level Oregon college teams. He's a lot of fun to watch. And here we see the last play. Gilligan collects and just airs it out. Watch the setup here by number 4 on the left side of your screen. Really well done there.
To start the third quarter.
You can see what Simon Higgins did. He sort of laid in the weeds. And nobody on the Flamethrowers picked him up. They were just guarding the disc. If someone was guarding him, they may have been able to shield him with the body a little bit.
It's true. It's a lot easier to go up when you're moving forward than when you're fading back, and he was the only one moving forward. Nice play by him.
San Francisco down 1, begins the 4th with possession. We could not have asked for a better 3 quarters of ultimate for the first ever AUDL ESPN showcase. And to begin the 4th quarter, it's Jeff Silverman putting his body on the line.
What an awesome adjustment and layout from Jeff Silverman.
Over the top, deflected. Rankin got a hand up. Alex Nord ready to run offensively. One minute into the 4th. We talked earlier about how San Francisco is probably the deeper team. We'll find out over these next 11 minutes if that's true.
That's right. You know, the deeper team should pull ahead in the fourth quarter. They should be able to sustain the push a little better than the team that's running their stars. But, you know, you got stars like Kurt Gibson, Ashlyn Joy, and Bo Kittredge, who these guys defy a lot of what we think we know about physical fitness. They don't seem to slow down. Another creative throw there by Eli. Just puts his hand right through the double team and throws a little shovel pass. Deep shot goes up. Nord was not ready for it, though, and it's going to be a catch block there.
Greg Cohen was all alone for the D. This is Chris Thompson up the line for Higgins. Simon Higgins made that dramatic play to finish the third quarter. Higgins is used to winning, won 4 straight California high school championships at Alameda High School. A lot of these guys on the field for both teams are used to winning.
That's right. He played in high school, I believe, with Eli Kearns at ACLC, one of the top high school programs out here on the West Coast.
A reminder that our AUDL coverage on ESPN continues next Saturday. We will be in Quebec, the province of Quebec, the city of Montreal, for the first ever game to showcase the Montreal Royale and the Toronto Rush, the defending champs. The San Jose Spiders hoping that they get to face one of those Canadian teams perhaps in July.
It's an interesting situation. So the Western Division is the expansion division this year, and as a result, they only get 1 bid into the semifinals. So these two teams, only one of these two teams can potentially represent the division. So one thing we know for certain is this will not be your final. A little bit unfortunate because they may be the 2 best teams. But that's how the cookie crumbles.
There are a lot of great players in the Midwest and East, though, that would love a shot at either of these clubs.
Absolutely. Montreal should be very interesting to see what they're bringing. They've had a very solid club scene for a long time, both in the co-ed and the men's division, and they should be talented.
I was thinking about it, Chuck, you know, with the proliferation of the ultimate media, and you're becoming one of the, you know, the most prominent voices in the sport, you could really fire somebody up by saying something negative about them, and you know, Chuck Kindred doubted us. That could be some team's rally cry.
You should check my Twitter feed. You're not far off. I take a lot of heat for the stuff I say. But hey, if I can fire you up, make you play better, I'm happy to do it.
That's what makes him a coach. Big point here for the Flamethrowers. And they're looking for Rankin deep. And Rankin climbs the ladder to the end zone for the San Francisco score. Greg Marliov hauls in the finish, but it was the unbelievable sky before the score that stands out.
Rankin just made one of the best plays up high we've seen in the AUDL, I think. Just absolutely climbs the ladder like you said. This is a great defensive matchup, but absolutely no chance. Well played, well timed. Guys that really time their jumps, you don't have to be that tall. If you're playing position, you see your man and you get up at the right time for your jump, you can be elite.
Rankin's 6'2". Nathan White, the defender, is 6'5". It's not all about height in terms of reading the disc.
Definitely not. You can see he's set it up. He's got better position here. So even though he doesn't have height, he's coming off the backside. He's got first dibs on the air, and he takes it.
San Francisco back within 1. Here's Gibson. Talked a little bit about Kurt Gibson today. Obviously a great player at Florida. Won a national championship with double wide in between the college championship and the club championship. He had an even greater victory taking down colon cancer. Oh, what a toe tap. Mark Elbogen. The shot to space. Farina to the end zone. San Jose by 2.
Wow, and what a nice cut there by Elbogen. He set it up beautifully. Tyler Bacon was watching it the whole time, and as soon as he turned the hips of his defender and started moving deep, Bacon wound and delivered. Just really, really high-level offense on that point.
One of the things these elite players are still figuring out is the field sense with the wider field, and Elbogen showed great awareness here.
You can see how open he is. It's because he set his cut up so well. The defender wasn't out of position, but he turned his hips so that the defender really couldn't respond in time and was able to get 10, 15 yards open space. Really an incredible cut.
One of the reasons, Chuck, that Kirk Gibson decided to play in the AUDL is to try to raise awareness for an organization called ERIC. Early recognition is critical. Kirk Gibson wants to be a role model to a lot of young people who are, you know, he was as invincible of an ultimate player, as an all-around athlete as you could come, and he literally was not able to walk after he was going through his surgery and his chemotherapy treatments. And for him to get back to this level and to be invited by the Revolver team a few years back to go to Worlds with them and then to win a club championship himself. Oh my. Contact after the remarkable D.
And I'm not sure if we have footage of it. It looked like he might have gotten kicked in the face just by accident.
It was Silverman who made the great D, and then he got crunched by the offensive player. Look at this.
Here comes the cut underneath. Silverman sets up the bid, makes the big bid here, and then watching the aftermath, gets a knee right across the chin. This is not mixed martial arts. That is not what he was expecting.
That throw was a little bit behind the cutter, forcing him to sort of reroute the cut. And a great job, obviously, by Silverman closing. Now Gilligan picks up.
We can see the D is picking up here. Pretty hard to get a reset. The double teams are looking a little sharper. And you can see these resets are not easy. They have to be quick. There's very tight margins. Nice break there by Gilligan.
To the end zone. San Jose has its largest lead yet.
And that's a big one. They just saw the best pressure I've seen from the Flamethrowers on defense, and they were able to maintain possession, reset at will, break the mark, and then eventually swing it around for the goal. That's a statement.
You know what surprised me a little bit? We're not that far from San Francisco. I expected a more bipartisan crowd. This has been Spider Central.
It really has. I mean, we're not exactly in the midpoint of the two cities here. We're much closer to San Jose, but it's only, what, a 40-minute drive down, I guess, from San Francisco.
You and I both made it yesterday.
We sure did. I was talking to one of the coaches before the game. He said that what might be working against the San Francisco crowd coming down is that the weather was so nice in San Francisco. Normally it's foggy, so if you get a sunny day, I think people tend to stay in the city a little more.
That pull's going out of bounds. How close are we to desperation time for San Francisco here? How big does a lead need to get? You know, with what time needs to be left for them to overcome a 3-4 point gap?
I will say that if you lose by 3 goals, that's not what we would consider a close game. You know, if you lose by 3, you got beat pretty good. So I don't think 3 is a small margin. It seems doable, and certainly it is. But you definitely don't want to just hang back and assume you can come back in the end. This is a great team, and you're going to have to punch it in here. So we'll see what the Flamethrowers can do. Eli getting the reset in the middle of the field. And good movement so far from San Francisco.
Well, time not a factor yet, but we're getting close. Oh, great layout bid to secure the disc. Brandon Fine. The reset over to Jannon. Patrick Bayless has been such a key player for the Flamethrowers tonight. And Bayless receives the soft backhand from Miller.
Real nice play there by Miller. He kind of checked his step a little bit, faked like he was coming around to the forehand, and then went back to the backhand. I think he really psyched out the defense there, and it was all footwork.
Physical therapy in Portola Valley gets you back on the field faster.
What do you think about the marks both these teams have done? You know, at this level, forcing backhand versus forcing flick, most of these guys have all the throws. So it's more about limiting the amount of space and communicating with the rest of your defenders.
It is, and I think you just want to make sure that your downfield defenders have the advantage in any case that they can. Normally on defense, you're at a disadvantage. The thrower knows where he's throwing, the cutter knows where he's cutting, and you're trying to react to that. So the big deal with the force is that you want to at least give your downfield guys a heads up on where the disc is coming from, not let it just come from any direction.
16-14, San Jose by 2 with possession.
We haven't seen too many hammers tonight. I saw a couple guys cock it and think about it, but nobody's really throwing it. Not sure why that is. This is perfect weather for some hammers.
Ashlyn Joy to the end zone, and the defense was lost.
Yeah, blown assignment, and San Francisco may be taking their foot off the gas here. That is not going to get it done, that level of defense.
Yeah, that was a really calm, simple offensive possession. It wasn't even spectacular flow. It was just they threw it wherever they wanted to.
On the score,
yeah, they're having their way at this point. San Francisco's going to have to put their rally cap on here and, you know, get some of that fire that's in their name. They're going to have to turn it on here. San Jose, this is home crowd. I think a lot of people have them as the favorite. And I know these guys wanted to come in and win this game. You know, last year, I think the first game we covered in our showcase series was Madison against Chicago, and that set the tone for the season. Madison upset them, and they went on to do the same thing in the playoffs and throughout the season.
May 23rd, 24th, we'll have a home-and-home Madison and Chicago on a Friday in one city and a Saturday in the other.
One of the great AUDL rivalries.
Nord underneath. Miller wide open, screaming for the disc. Now he has it. Back to the 2001 Callahan winner with Carlton. Alex Nord back to Miller now. Clay Miller played at Cal. Fine, a good pivot. Miller into traffic, and what a D! Coming out of nowhere, Jeff Silverman.
Wow, Jeff Silverman is really having a game tonight. He's a little shaken up, looks like shoulder, collarbone might have been damaged there, but he is just getting in the way, causing trouble for this offense. Gillick had no clue there was anybody even in the field. He was ready to clap catch his goal.
Silverman down, but let's see what happened. He closed 10 yards in a blink of an eye. And you said it, Chuck. The San Francisco flamethrower receiver had no idea there were footsteps looming.
You can see he lands on his right shoulder and rolls over it. So we'll hope he's okay here. He's holding that right shoulder, though. He might have hurt himself.
Jeff Silverman, all region at UCSB in 2009, where he was a captain. One of the great defensive players for the Condors. And he is from Mountain View. Quickly becoming a hometown hero for the Spiders. You feel like if San Jose scores here, it could be a dagger?
Yeah, we're pretty close to that point. I think at the very least we need to see some effort on D from San Francisco. I'd like to see them force a turn here.
Joy had nowhere to go upfield, but a nice little handler cut resets the offense. Joy basically unguardable, making those handler cuts. He's trying to make things tough for him. What a put. A backhand break Greg Cohen to Matthew Natali, and the Spiders are pulling away in their home opener.
This is a pretty sick backhand here. Watch him set this up and then just whoop, right up the line. Mark has no idea. Watch how low he gets on this. In the perfect shape, plenty of touch. That is not an easy throw.
But if he doesn't zip that with the velocity that he used, that gets D'd.
Or even with a different shape. If that's not low and tight, if that's a little bending left to right, that's a block. He did it just right here.
And again, it comes down to the quick pivot. Those low release throws are a lot about flexibility and just the confidence to throw with your arm at different angles.
That's right, because you're stepping pretty much perpendicular to the flight path of the disc. You almost can't look where you're throwing because you're releasing it sort of behind your right hip and just snapping it, hoping it sits where it's supposed to. Heck of a throw, and that puts them up 4. San Jose's really kind of putting their foot down here. We'll see if San Francisco can reply.
The Flamethrowers take their last timeout, trying to perhaps build up whatever they've got left in the tank. Timeout means disc into the crowd. That was a nice grab by one of the fans.
Just one?
There's probably a pretty good amount of talent in these stands today.
I think you're right. I recognize a few club fixtures here.
It's great to see the local fans supporting the league. I spoke to Jean-Lévy Champagne this past week. He's one of the co-owners and captains of the Montreal Royal. They're getting ready to host their first game ever against the defending champion Toronto Rush. They named the team the Montreal Royale. They're playing at a beautiful stadium right next to Mount Royal. And you know, the number of things that as an owner and a captain you need to think about before you host the first game in a franchise's history. I mean, all the little things. Who's going to take the tickets? Who's going to run the will call booth? Who's going to sell the food? Who's going to do the public address? What language are they going to do the public address in? We'll find that out next week as well. But really looking forward to seeing how that show goes. And I know they're expecting a nice support from the Montreal Ultimate community, a really good Canadian Ultimate city.
That should be a pretty fun rivalry, Toronto and Montreal.
5 minutes left.
And I'll tell you, the folks in Montreal respect the heck out of GOAT in the Toronto Rush. They are by no means afraid or intimidated by them. Perhaps a last gasp for the Flamethrowers. Will that stay up long enough? No, it will not. Jake Coleman couldn't get there. Nice grab. That was Michael Keogh, who was a defensive star earlier in the game. Really had one of the great layouts to help set the tone for San Jose. Looking deep for Kittredge. Maybe got away with a little push. It'll count for San Jose. Gamesmanship. Bo knows how to get away with it.
Yeah, you can see Bo. One of the things about Bo, he's fast, he's tall, but he's also got a lot of power in his legs and big shoulders. He's built, so you can see he just kind of lowers that right shoulder, pulls the defender off a little bit. Maybe got away with it. But in any event, no call. More beer for Bo.
And at that point, Mark Elbogen wide open. There's going to be some interesting post-game conversations in the San Jose huddle and in the San Francisco huddle. And those conversations will continue to the apartment in San Francisco where Bo and Ashland and San Francisco Flamethrower captain Cassidy Rasmussen all live. Kind of like Chris Paul having LeBron James at his house when the Miami Heat visit the Los Angeles Clippers. Except it's a full permanent situation.
Right.
It's not just one game in so long.
Yeah, probably one of the three of them or two of the three of them are going to be a little uncomfortable going home with the victorious opponent tonight. But I guess that's how it goes.
How important, Chuck, do you think that Simon Higgins catch in the closing seconds of the third quarter was to create the momentum for the San Jose rally?
Well, it's a little bit of a backbreaker. You know, it's a big momentum play. Here we see Eli Jannon ripping one deep.
Looking for Dahlman, and Lucas Dahlman hauls it in. That snaps a pretty healthy San Jose run.
Yeah, never a doubt there, but yeah, San Jose is pulled away.
This year are Slice of New York
Nice deep shot there from Eli to Lucas Dahlman.
And nationwide overspray at $10 per point. If you'd like to become a donor, visit the Eric or Cancer CarePoint booth tonight.
One of the great things about this sport are the kind of guys that play it. You know, we talked about Kurt Gibson being a cancer survivor and really trying to get the word out with early recognition is critical. Eric, the organization that he works with. And a lot of just neat guys that do a lot of service. Many of these Bay Area guys coach local high school teams like the Alameda team, like some of these other Berkeley High, Oakland Tech, some of the local schools.
A bunch of college coaches involved as well.
Absolutely. They're invested in the college programs, and they get a lot of talent from the college programs. I know Cal Berkeley has taken a big step forward in the past 5 or 6 years, and largely in part to the fact that guys like Yo Kaoka are coaching them.
That is a big piece of the San Francisco team. Talked to Yo this past week, and he was disappointed he couldn't be here. Here comes Kittredge among 3 defenders. Looked like a foul was called. And now Bo Kittredge says no foul. Wow. Bo overrules the referee's call. The question is, does he let that one go if it's 19-18 instead of 19-15?
I think that's a good question.
And it didn't look like a foul. Certainly some contact, but nothing malicious, nothing all that big. Now a deep shot the other way, looking for Rankin. He's had a couple good skies already. Oh my goodness! Ashlyn Joy went down hard, but he went up big.
Yeah, what an excellent play by Ashlyn. Gets up early, gets his hand on the disc, and closes on it. Looks like he may have come down and rolled over the defender's cleat, something like that. It looks like he's cramping, or maybe he's got a little bit of a Charlie horse, but what a play. Watch him get up here early.
Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes and 8 seconds.
Looks like Bo's having a hard time pulling the trigger on his jump. I see him kind of getting his footwork ready, setting his feet. He doesn't really get up in time, though. He's not really using his full height. A lot of times you'll see him go up and try to make a play, and the disc is at eye level, which tells you he went up too late.
It's a really good observation by you, and I agree. And you mentioned before the game, we saw him getting stretched out, wearing that leg brace. Elbogen to the end zone.
What a nice catch there. And there's Kevin Smith. This is what he did on San Diego Street Gang for so many years, is just throw goal after goal after goal. He's always putting it in the advantageous position for his receiver.
Kevin Smith
can move the release point around. He's got such great snap. You can see that his weight's not even coming forward, and he's able to just rip this to the end zone with the right shape, and a great play by his receiver here.
We have been very fortunate to see a number of highlight reel plays between these two teams of all-stars beginning a new season. And now the San Jose Spiders are soaking it in with their fans.
Yeah, breakout game from Higgins today. He's fired up. He's getting the crowd into it, and he made some big plays. It'll be exciting to see how he develops this year because he's still such a young guy, such a young, talented player.
These two teams will meet a few more times. The next matchup scheduled for May 17th, a little over a month from now. That'll be in San Francisco, where perhaps it'll be a little windier, a little more foggy.
Certainly. It's the funniest thing, but in San Francisco, it really gets foggy and cold the warmer it gets everywhere else.
I think the most encouraging thing for the Spiders today is the variety of contributions. You know, yeah, Ashlyn Joy had his fair share of great puts, but the performances of guys like, you know, Kevin Smith and Tim Gilligan, not to mention Simon Higgins, his play to close the third quarter.
And
those are the winning plays.
The defense from Jeff Silverman, you're seeing guys step up. And that was the concern going in. We just didn't know. We knew they had 3 marquee players, but we didn't know if they could carry the squad. And you know what? They don't have to. That's the good news if you're a San Jose Spider fan.
42 seconds left, and San Jose is about to be 1-0. While we have a moment, take a look at this highlight. Alex Nord to the end zone. San Francisco gets one closer, connecting with Brandon Fine. While we have a moment, want to thank our entire production team from Fulcrum Media. Luke Johnson, Tim Palmer, Roberto Flores, Kelly Johnson, and Josh Havens. What a great crew to be a part of.
They really are absolute pros. Great footage, and every time we do a broadcast, just an absolute pleasure.
The final minute in the AUDL opener, the debut of the season on ESPN. Very excited about this new partnership. You were saying you wanted to see a hammer. Kittredge! How did he get there?
Wow, another hammer to the end zone.
Oh! That would have been the exclamation point times 1,000.
Wow, what an exciting point.
Rasmussen lets it fly. Gibson and Kittredge surrounding Travis. And Bo puts it away for the Spiders. The face of his team, the face of this league, helps San Jose prevail in week 1. We will take a short timeout and come back with fourth quarter highlights and some final thoughts as San Jose takes down San Francisco 20-16, and little icing on top of the cake for Bo. Before we step away, these guys are teammates and brothers, and now professional competitors. But really great spirit throughout this game, I thought.
I agree. Really, you see the spirit of the game alive and well here in the AUDL, and these guys played a great game. Very entertaining. Lots of fun.
Again, the final, San Jose 20, San Francisco 16. The Spiders at home hold serve. But these teams will see each other again. We are back in a moment from Los Altos Hills to wrap it up.
I missed my graduation, practice, asleep so we could drill. I missed anniversary, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Saturday. I missed some plane flights. I even missed my parents' anniversary. I missed a lot.
You're watching some of the fine fourth quarter highlights as San Jose wins it 20-16. That was a tremendous play by one of the many flamethrower stars, Zane Rankin, climbing the ladder. But in the end, it was the Spiders who made more of those plays near the sideline and in the end zone.
They did, and I think we saw a little bit of that eighth man phenomenon. We saw the crowd really pick up these Spiders players and get everybody fired up. Jeff Silverman making big bids. Bo Kittredge turning it on in the fourth quarter. And look, there's one of those just outstanding bids from Jeff Silverman. Hopefully he's all right. We'll try to get the injury report.
Silverman's bid was silly. Some of the greatest defense we saw today was when the offense was not suspecting any threat.
It's really true. There was a lot of weak side of the field plays, poach Ds, guys that were getting into the action. It's very hard to deal with when you got great help D, and these teams did that well.
The Spiders celebrating at home. This was the final point. It did not end in a goal, but Kittredge runs down to hammer near the sideline, and it would have brought the house down if he could complete this. In the end, it did not matter at all. Evan Lepler with Chuck Kindred. What a great game. Tied at the half, close at the end of 3. I keep going back in my mind to that Simon Higgins catch at the end of the third quarter. They went 80 yards in 5 seconds to take the 1-goal lead. And, I don't think we properly attributed how much momentum and how important that was.
Yeah, he really fired up this crowd, really got his team excited. And I think, Simon Higgins, he's a young up-and-coming player, but he really made a statement tonight that he's ready to play on the biggest stage in the world right now. And I'm excited to see what kind of talent the Spiders have behind their 3 stars.
Let's get a quick thought from you on both of these teams, starting with San Francisco. This is a road loss. Your season's not over until you lose at home. They're a really good team. They have a lot of talent. What do they need to do, perhaps, in the next meeting to change the result against the Spiders?
Well, I think this is all going to be just offensive reps. It's really hard to develop chemistry as an offensive line, and this is a new group of guys trying to learn how to play offense together. So I think that's primarily what my takeaway would be for San Francisco is we need more reps. The O needs to score more consistently, and I think they will.
And for San Jose, a big question was answered tonight. The 3 big names, the 3 all-world caliber players, Kurt Gibson, Bo Kittredge, Ashlyn Joy, they were all very solid, but it was the Jeff Silvermans of the world, the Nathan Whites, and the other guys like that really helped to make the difference in this victory.
I agree. I was so impressed with Jeff Silverman's D, with Michael Keoy coming to play, Tyler Bacon, a lot of Condors coming up here and saying, you know what, we may not be Bay Area players, but we're Bay Area caliber players, and they're guys to be watching out for.
What a privilege it was to be here at Foothill Stadium tonight for the AUDL opener on ESPN. On behalf of our entire crew, for Chuck Kindred, I am Evan Lepler. We will talk to you next weekend from Montreal. For now, the Spiders take this one 20-16. Enjoy the full game highlights. We'll see you next week with the AUDL on ESPN.